There is only one player in the history of football to have been awarded an individual trophy that is considered to be the greatest accolade ever. It's not Messi, it's not Maradona, or even Pele or Ronaldo. The award is even bigger than the Ballon d'Or. In 1989, Alfredo Di Stefano was named the winner of the only Super Ballon d'Or awarded in the history of the game. He won after being ranked over the likes of Johan Cruyff and Michel Platini. He is the best player in the history of Real Madrid according to the club's official website. Di Stefano played 396 official matches for Real Madrid while scoring 308 goals. During the 2010s, Real Madrid won 3 consecutive Champions League titles and boasted one of the best teams in history. But imagine winning 5 consecutive Champions League trophies. You would be recognized as the undisputed champion for half a decade. That's exactly where Alfredo Di Stefano led Real Madrid in the 1950s. He spent 11 years at the club and established the very foundations of the Real Madrid legacy, and then some more. Let's take a look at the most successful era for Real Madrid and how Di Stefano led the charge. Born in Argentina in 1926, Alfredo Di Stefano played street football in Buenos Aires as a child. His father was a defender for River Plate but had to prematurely retire due to injury. Di Stefano developed his skills on the streets, and by the age of 19, he signed for River Plate after his father sent a letter of recommendation to his former club. At this point, River Plate was well renowned across the world for their style of play. They were playing a version of total football before it was popularized under Johan Cruyff. After being loaned out to Huracan, he impressed with 10 goals in 25 appearances and was given a starting spot for River Plate next season. Di Stefano played as a centre forward and racked up 45 goals in 48 appearances for River Plate. He played in Argentina from 1945 to 1949 until a general strike in the country led him to move abroad. The Colombian football wages at the time were known to be lucrative, and he made his way to Millonarios, a club in the Colombian First Division. He made his mark there as well, almost averaging a goal every single game. The eyes of major clubs around the world turned to him. Real Madrid was hanging in mid-table obscurity in the Spanish league during the early 1950s. In 1952, Di Stefano made his way to Spain to take part in a friendly tournament while still playing for Millonarios. Barcelona and Real Madrid coaches couldn't believe what they were watching and immediately set forth to get his signature. Di Stefano was in the prime of his career, and both rival clubs could see how their fates could change if he joined them. River Plate were apprehensive about these interests as the club wasn't too happy with the move Di Stefano had made to Colombia a few years ago. They still held the license for his player registration, and the Colombian club had found a workaround that wasn't a completely above the table kind of deal. Barcelona started negotiations first and held a meeting with the Millonarios, but their first error in the process occurred when they heeded assistance from Juan Busquets, who was the director of Millonarios' rival club. This soured moods at the negotiations table, and when Barcelona offered a measly amount way below what Di Stefano was worth, the Millonarios side weren't too happy. Their second error was underestimating the Colombian club's stature, as they were mostly focused on getting the players' registration sorted on River Plate's side more than dealing with Millonarios. The bid was rejected, and Barcelona figured they could bypass this formality by just agreeing with River Plate. They flew Di Stefano out of Colombia and put him and his family up at a place in northern Spain. Di Stefano notably even took part in a friendly in Barcelona colours in the middle of 1953. But soon after, the Spanish Football Federation came to Barcelona's doorsteps asking questions. They refused to officially accept the transfer as there was no agreement in place with Millonarios. Barcelona rebutted this by saying that they had got the rights to register Di Stefano from River Plate and that Millonarios had brought him in without the proper paperwork anyways. But the Spanish Federation refused to accommodate their complaints, even though FIFA had no qualms with it. Santiago Bernabeu was the Real Madrid president at the time. He decided to take advantage of this commotion to reach an agreement with Millonarios and pose further problems for the transfer to be considered legitimate for Barcelona. A huge case was filed, and the proceedings took a few months to be resolved. The conclusion? In September 1953, the Spanish Football Federation said that Di Stefano could play for both clubs on alternate seasons for the next 4 years. Barcelona were fuming when they heard this and hastily decided to rip up his contract, which gave Real Madrid the green light to sign him for good. The rest, as they say, is history. The first El Clasico after this happened a month into Di Stefano's new club contract. Barcelona lost 5-0 and Di Stefano scored 4 of them. The unmatched decade of excellence had begun for Real Madrid. A lot of questions surrounding this controversy remain unanswered, but speculation remains that the Spanish ruler at the time, General Franco, was colluding with Real Madrid to pull the strings of the Spanish Football Federation. It was no secret that he exerted influence in favour of Real Madrid during the 50s. Both sets of fans are bitter to this day when this controversy is brought up. Di Stefano started his Real Madrid career in 1953 and played till 1964 for 11 whole seasons. During this time, he led the club to 8 La Liga titles, 5 consecutive Champions League trophies, a Spanish Cup, 2 Intercontinental Cups, and got himself 2 Ballon d'Ors in the process. Di Stefano secured a record that realistically will never be broken. From 1956 to 1960, he led Real Madrid to 5 consecutive Champions League finals and won all 5. He holds the record for scoring in these 5 continuous finals. He scored a hat-trick in a 7-3 victory over Eintracht Frankfurt in one of these finals as well. The other 4 goals for Real Madrid in this 7-3 thumping came from Ferenc Puskás. The best goal of the season award, or the Puskás Award, is named after him, and you can probably guess why. He was another legend for Real Madrid and a contender for an all-time great. During the Real Madrid era of excellence, Di Stefano and Puskás were integral to the attacking output of the team. Puskás scored 2 hat-tricks in the European finals, another record that is hard to break. Mbappe could probably match or even overcome this record now that he is signed for Real Madrid in his prime. Real Madrid reached the final of the European Cup 2 times more in Di Stefano's reign, but they lost to Benfica in 1962, and in the final year of his stay in Madrid in 1964, they lost to Inter Milan. He ended up with 49 goals in just 58 Champions League appearances, an extremely impressive goal ratio that still stands today. The major reason why Alfredo Di Stefano isn't often mentioned in the same breath as Pelé and Maradona is because of his international legacy, or rather the lack of it. Di Stefano made appearances for 3 different nations throughout his career, first for Argentina, then Colombia, and finally Spain. The all-time greats that are generally brought up in drawing room conversations also have accolades for their respective countries. Pelé, Maradona, and Messi have all won the World Cup at least once. Unfortunately, Di Stefano's fate was such that he could never play in a World Cup tournament. He appeared for Argentina first in 1947, but the political unrest and strikes in the country meant they couldn't be a part of the World Cup in 1950. In 1951, Di Stefano played a few games for Colombia without a Colombian passport. In 1954, he returned to Argentina to represent them at the World Cup, but FIFA put a sanction on him, stating that he couldn't represent either of the nations again. He had missed 2 World Cups in a row by now. He represented Spain in order to help them qualify for the 1958 World Cup, but he was unable to help the somewhat disappointing Spanish team qualify for the World Cup. This meant he wouldn't take part in a 3rd consecutive World Cup. The next World Cup in 1962 was another unfortunate one for Di Stefano, as he was injured and couldn't be called up for the Spanish squad. He had gone 16 years without being able to be part of a World Cup squad. It's a big question mark whether Di Stefano's inclusion in the 1962 World Cup Spanish squad might have stopped Pelé's Brazil from winning that World Cup. He was that good at the time. So starting all the way from the 1950 World Cup, circumstances didn't allow him to ever be part of a single campaign for the next 16 years. This is one of the major reasons why he isn't spoken about as highly as the rest of all-timers in football. Di Stefano pushed physical limits by joining Real Madrid at the age of 27 and retiring at 38. Even in the twilight years of his career, he performed as well as prime players do now. English legend Bobby Charlton was highly impressed by him in 1957 when Manchester United met Real Madrid in a European Cup knockout game. He stated that Di Stefano's influence transcended more than just the attacking phases of the game, and he influenced the whole team. From defence to midfield, Di Stefano would help in all phases of play. There are very few footballers as complete as Di Stefano, with probably only Lionel Messi surpassing him in terms of influencing games by himself. Di Stefano would make the whole team tick, quite similar to Messi. He was given the nickname the Blonde Arrow as early as his late 1940s Argentinian exploits. You can probably guess why. A blonde guy as accurate as an arrowhead in front of goal, he established a legacy for Real Madrid that they thrive on even to this day. So do you think Real Madrid would be considered as one of the greatest clubs of all time if not for Di Stefano's heroics in the 50s? Should Di Stefano be included in the all-time greatest football conversations? Let us know in the comments below.